Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circlebark Merkel, here at the coast today. Aaron, go ahead and say hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Alright, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be talking about the upcoming NFL awards and making our predictions as to who we think will win each of the awards, starting with the MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive Defensive Player, Offensive Defensive Rookie, and then wrapping it up with the Comeback Player of the Year. But let's go ahead and get started with the MVP. Aaron, who you got winning the most valuable player this year for the NFL?
I mean, it's got to be Lamar Jackson, right?
Yeah,
The best quarterback on the best team. That's what the award is. So it's
pretty
Lamar
much.
Jackson.
Yeah. If you look at his stats, they're not as impressive as the last time he won MVP. Yeah, he has more yards and a slightly better completion percentage, with 67.2% completion percentage, over 3,600 yards as opposed to 66%, and a little less than 3,200. However, his touchdowns, he's got 12 less touchdowns, 24 to 36, while the interceptions are about the same, 7 to 6. And his rushing numbers are even worse than they were that season. Only 821 yards and 5 touchdowns. Last time he won MVP, he had 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. So, probably not exactly as impressive as the last time, but I would agree that Lamar, being the best player on the best team, probably has to, kind of take the award. If you're giving it to a quarterback, that's really the caveat here, in my opinion, is that it has to go to a quarterback, and by default, Lamar was probably the best quarterback this year. If that hadn't been the case, I guess, I mean, for me, my offensive player of the year probably should have won MVP, but because he's not a quarterback, he didn't. Is that kind of how your list fell too?
I think I would have another quarterback other than Lamar Jackson, maybe up there before my offensive player of the year. But my
Okay.
offensive player of the year is also not a quarterback.
Yeah. So, but we'll get into
There's
that.
really only like one other guy that I would have above my offensive player of the year.
Who do you think's who's the other quarterback? I'm curious.
Um, well, if we're gonna go there, it's my offensive rookie of the year, CJ Stroud.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, then we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But that's a cool take. I like that take. I like that take. I don't hate it at all. Actually, C.J. Stroud's probably had the second most impressive season out of all the quarterbacks. So maybe most impressive if you consider the context that he was a rookie.
Yeah, Tua with the stats probably, but I mean, then again, you look at their team
Yeah.
kind of play. They really just beat up on bad teams and
Three
didn't
or
really do a lot
four of
against
the
good teams.
fastest players in the NFL. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just give them the ball and
then when you look at the whole context of C.J. Stroud being a rookie and coming into a situation that wasn't necessarily the best, coming in and putting the season together that they ended up having,
very true.
Really impressive.
No, very, very true. But we'll talk about him here later because, spoiler, I also have him as offensive rookie because, of course. But let's go ahead and talk about our coach of the year. I got Mr. Bite Your Kneecaps, take a chunk out of you, Detroit's very own Dan Campbell leading. I know postseason isn't supposed to factor in here. But even aside from the postseason success that they've had so far, first playoff appearance since Matt Stafford's prime. I think Calvin Johnson was still on the team. It was the last time they made the playoffs. So obviously that's impressive. But then if you also factor in the playoff run, first NFC Championship game in like 32 years or something like that, like that's extremely impressive. So yeah, I got to go with Motor City Dan Campbell. Yeah.
My only argument against MCDC is that they were kind of expected, be in the fight for the division.
Yeah, I get that.
They were. It was a toss up between, I mean, anybody in that division but the Bears, really. that's why I went with D'Amico Ryans. Everybody thought it
That's
was
a
going to be
really
Jacksonville's
yeah.
division, and then everybody else. Maybe the Colts with the Gardner Minshew, or I don't know if they expected Richardson to take over the reins right away, but um, nobody really expected the Texans to win their division and put together the season that they did. So I know it might seem like I'm kind of slobbing all over the Texans, but I think it's valid.
No, I think it's fair. To do that. I mean, they exceeded everybody's expectations, obviously. So you can't take that away from them whatsoever. Um, Sorry, I've got like some ads popping up over here. Um, but yeah, no, like I don't blame you at all for tooting the Texans' horn because they definitely deserve it with the season they had. Everyone probably expected them to finish last in their division. They ended up winning it. So, uh, no, I don't think D'Amico Ryan's is a bad pick at all. He's him and Stefanski. I think you could also argue Stefanski was right up there with what he did with that Browns team, having just revolving door of quarterbacks all season long. I think they had like 4 or 5 different starting quarterbacks throughout the entire season due to injuries mostly, and then poor performance once Deshaun went down for the year. Oh, what a shame that was. But
I'm a little sarcastic there.
I don't think it's I don't think it's frowned upon to dislike Deshaun Watson in this day of age.
You think it's karma?
I think yeah, a little bit, yeah, yeah. I think maybe it's a little deserved, allegedly, but
Not going
uh,
to disagree.
yeah. But let's go ahead and move on to our offensive player of the year. Um you can go ahead and start off with yours. We might have the same person from the hint you gave me earlier.
I went with Tyreek.
Oh, okay. That was my second choice. That was my second
You went
choice.
with CMC.
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he damn near got 2,000 yards.
No,
I
if
mean,
he was healthy, he
that,
might have. He didn't
um,
get hurt.
yeah, yeah. And so hell of a season from him. Happy for him. Obviously being an ex-Chief, so
Yeah.
I went with Tyreek.
No, I definitely think that. I mean, like I said, he was my second choice. I think the main reason I went with CMC is he actually did, I think, have 1,000 or 2,000 all-purpose yards. He had 1,459 rushing, and then 564 receiving. So yeah, over 2,000 all-purpose. Then along with that, he also had 21 total touchdowns, which is once you get to the 20s, that's ridiculous. If you're not a quarterback and you have 20 plus touchdowns, so I had to give it to CMC. I think he was the MVP of that Niners offense all year.
100%.
Not to
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a toss-up between him and Debo. Because
yeah, yeah.
we saw in the playoff game how their offense kind of sputtered once he left the game.
Yeah, and not to pile on the whole Brock Purdy sucks pile right now, but and I don't think he sucks, but I just think without CMC
I think
back
he's
there,
fine.
he's
I don't think
fine.
he's as
Yeah,
elite as all the talking heads think
right,
he is,
right. I
but
think
I
I,
think he's just fine.
I think if you put CMC on the Buccaneers, I think the Buccaneers are almost as dangerous as the Niners were this year. Hot take, maybe, but that's my opinion.
I don't know.
Not
I mean,
saying Rashawn White's
I don't
bad.
doubt that he definitely makes them a better team. It's just I don't their receiving cores,
I guess the
you know.
one argument you could
The
make.
the 49ers offense is just so dynamic.
That's true. Kyle Shanahan just knows how to run an offense better than anybody. So maybe Kyle Shanahan deserves Offensive Player of the
Hey.
Year. But so we can go ahead and look at defensive player. Who did I? Oh yeah, I had this guy. A guy who I've been tooting his horn all season long, saying that he should arguably be in the MVP conversation. He would have been the first defensive player since Lawrence Taylor to win said award. I went with Myles Garrett. He really carried that Browns team throughout the turmoil they had to endure throughout the quarterback carousel I mentioned earlier. Only 14 total sacks. I know he didn't lead. I don't think he led the league in sacks by any means. But just his presence alone is enough in my opinion. Similar to like what Aaron Donald was back in his heyday. 3-4 seasons ago. Um, if Miles
Before
Garrett's
he's getting
on,
triple teamed every time.
yeah, before getting triple team every time. If Miles Garrett's on the line, you run a play in the opposite direction. Basically, is what you do. Um, and I think he proved this year that he's able to kind of carry a team for multiple games. You know, he can win a team multiple, not just one game a year, but maybe four. Um, so that's why I had to go with Miles Garrett. But who you got?
I kind of went maybe a similar line of thinking. I went T.J. Watt.
That's a good one.
I think
Yeah,
he
he
had
was my second
like
choice.
17 sacks or something like that, and even missed some time. And we saw that they definitely missed him in that playoff game, and he's kind of the same where he's just an absolute game wrecker.
Yeah.
You know, he, that defense won the Steelers several games flat out this year,
Oh, for
and several
sure.
of those were strip sack at the end, recovered for a touchdown or in field goal range. So I went with T.J. Watt.
Yeah, no, but like you said, very similar situation. He was asked to basically carry the team a lot this year, with that offense not being able to really get anything going ever at any point in the season. Um, so, but let's go ahead and look at offensive rookie of the year. And you mentioned yours earlier, so I'll just let you go ahead and take it away because I agree.
I mean, C.J. Stroud, I said he arguably could be in the and should be in the MVP conversation with the season he had, especially it being his first year. So
Yeah.
I mean, not much really else to be said.
No, yeah. I mean, I also have C.J. Stroud, rookie season throwing over 4,000 yards, 4,100 yards, passing, only 23 touchdowns, but only threw 5 picks. Um, so I
Didn't
mean, he
throw
was
his first 5 games.
do what he did. Oh yeah, he did. I
Isn't that
forgot he didn't throw a pick for his first. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that run he was on. Um, and he completed 64% of his passes, which as a rookie, that's a pretty dang good. You know, if you're over 60% as a rookie, that's a good sign. That's what you want. So, yeah, I think it was between him and Puka Nakua. Unless Puka Nakua had 2,000 receiving yards and broke Calvin Johnson's record, I don't think he was going to beat the season C.J. Stroud had. And that's no knock on Puka Nakua because he had an
I
amazing
mean, he had a
year.
hell too.
Yeah, I think he broke the rookie receiving record for goodness sakes. But um, C.J. Stroud just one of the greatest rookie seasons we've ever seen by a
But
quarterback.
he into sort of a playoff caliber team, whereas
That's
C.J.
true.
Stroud did not.
Yeah, I mean, without the Texans went from picking two in the draft to one of the final 8 teams remaining. So that
I
just
believe they had the
shows.
worst odds to win the Super Bowl
Did they
of any
really?
team this year.
That's
I believe they
insane.
were at
Over the worse than the Panthers. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That age like milk. Yeah, one of the last 8 teams remaining. So top third in the league. Texans were this year. So shout out to them. Um, and to keep that trend going, and as you kind of said earlier, slob on the Texans' knob a little bit. I got Will Anderson winning Rookie of the Year on the defensive side. Uh, Similar line of thinking as with the C.J. Stroud situation. Carried a abysmal defense to a pretty solid, defensive ranking. I don't think they were like top 10 or anything, but I think they were middle of the pack, which I mean that's a heck of a lot better than where they were last season. Had 7 sacks as a rookie, which is pretty impressive. Um, as a defensive tackle, right? Or no, he's a D end. Okay,
No,
so
he's
he's
at
an
the end.
yeah, he's an edge rusher. But yeah, still pretty solid. 7 sacks in 15 games. Only started in 13 of them, so I don't think they expected him to be as good as he was this season right out the gate from the looks of it. Um, Drafted. Where was he drafted? Oh, he was a third overall
Number
pick. So
yeah,
yeah.
because they traded
Um,
up.
so yeah, I guess they did have high hopes for him. I wonder why he didn't start all 15 of the games he played. That's kind of
Was he
strange.
banged up?
Maybe. I mean, he did miss 2 games, so that could be what. Yeah, that could be why. Um, but yeah, I got Will Anderson.
I kind of went with who many believe was the best D tackle in this draft. I went with Jalen Carter.
That's good. Yeah.
Granted that Eagles defense did struggle down the stretch, but being a rookie and had 20 solo tackles, 6 sacks as a young D tackle. I think that's pretty impressive and indicative of things to come for him.
Fletcher Cox is a D tackle, right? Or is he a linebacker? So yeah, there you got
No.
your Fletcher Cox replacement then for the foreseeable future, with him presumably out the door. I think this offseason. And he showed that he could probably be that staple up front. Moving on to our last award, we got Comeback Player of the Year. Obviously, there was talk about Damar Hamlin winning it all season long, having come back from the brink of death, literally. And shout out to him. I mean, the fact that he was able to play this season is incredible. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from him in that regard. Um, Maybe don't have him take a fake punt with your season on the line, though. That maybe wasn't the smartest move, McDermott, just to
Yeah,
get
this
him.
isn't Make a Wish, all right. This
Yeah,
is
that
the
was
NFL.
that was a bold strategy.
We're a championship here.
The fact that he was able to play it all this year, was that was good enough. You didn't have to try to get a little gravy there with the whole save our season. Hamlin, save our season, Hamlin. That was crazy. But no, shout out to him for able to come back and play this season. But I got Joe Flacco. I mean, the fact that he was able to literally get up off his couch in the middle of the year, just step onto an NFL field for the first time in over a year, and lead the Browns to a playoff game is insane. So I think Joe Flacco, you know what he did? He proved what we've all been questioning all these years for the last decade and
Flacco's
a
elite.
half. Flacco's elite, man. Flacco's elite. He finally did it. He finally did it.
My comeback player of the year is, you might be a fan of this pick, Matt Stafford.
Ooh, I do like that.
Only played 9 games last year and had, I believe it was like a neck injury the last half of the season,
Something, yeah.
which
So
is
it
par
was
for the
like
course for him for
they had
carrying Detroit for so many years.
yeah, I think that's probably why. I think they had said that it was career threatening, like it was threatening to end his career. Even it was that bad. So
Yeah. Yep, and then have kind of the bounce back this year, the chemistry with Puka Nakua and obviously Cooper Cup, and who was their other receiver? That Tutu Atwell? Yeah.
Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, but Tutu was
I know.
because
I
they
know. Yeah, Tutu was good throughout the
they,
year.
yeah. Um yeah, I got Matt Stafford.
No, I like that pick. I didn't even think about him to be honest, because I'd forgotten that he missed basically the whole year last year. At least it felt like it. So yeah, no, I like that pick a lot. But yeah, I think the Rams are set up well for the future too with that young receiving core, with Puka
And
and
Stetson Bennett as
Tutu.
the backup.
And then yes, the oldest rookie in NFL history, Stetson Bennett as the backup. That's not true. That's probably Brandon Whedon. But see, I know ball. I know ball. I know ball, ladies and gentlemen. I just pulled Brandon Whedon out of my ass. I know ball, bro. Uh, but
Oh,
unless
who
you
was
get
that Eagles receiver that they had those tryouts that movie's based on?
oh, I don't know him. Yeah, I don't know that guy. Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, that
That
guy.
yeah. I know the coach. He was a great coach for the Chiefs too. Oh, Marty. What did Marty?
Mm.
I think it was Schottenheimer. Talk about Invincible.
Vince Papale, a
Vince.
30-year-old bartender.
Yeah, Brandon Whedon was like 32, I think, when he debuted. So, but unless you got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Here with the coach today, Aaron. Go ahead and say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, deuces.